You said when would we?
What if we?
Yeah, 2 people can sleep in a full bed.
A full-size bed?
Yeah. A queen bed would take up all of that room.
Oh, that's true. Okay, well, that makes sense. And welcome to the podcast about everything. That's right. Yes, we have been recording. Only about 43 seconds now, so we're good. Just a little background on that conversation. We are moving. I don't know if anybody listened to the last podcast. They accepted our offer. We are moving. We are in the process of packing. We about to get all about it. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Dante.
This is Jerri.
Could you hear yourself?
Yeah, I can hear.
Oh, okay.
Side note, I was thinking, what if we keep the spare bedroom empty for a while and we record in there?
That could work. Until we get the funds to put stuff in there?
Yeah.
That's fine.
Plus, I feel like that would take out, some of the sound. Even though I feel so bad, because I want to give him the room that I guess the last people were using as an office. But that door.
We can take the door off.
I don't want to. It's a nice door.
Then we just switch rooms.
But we have to paint that other room. That bright yellow color in there is not great.
Then we'll just paint the room.
Okay, do you want to, you know what? When we get a date for, when we can go in there, before we move a whole bunch of shit up in there, let's just go ahead and paint.
We'll take, a night, and we'll just go paint that one. We can go paint that one room. Because for now, you say you're going to do Donovan's room. We'll just paint that room.
I want to paint the living room.
Well, we can do that anytime. But if we want to, we can do that anytime. We can just move everything to the middle of the floor. Mm-hmm. And then we can paint it. That we can do that. That want to work anytime. But if we want to do his room, since it's so, we want to do that before we move his stuff in there.
Okay. Alright.
And now you're all caught up on Dante and Jerri's life. We just had a whole side conversation. But, ladies and gentlemen, today's podcast episode number 7, is about cults. And the reason that Jerri is on this podcast is because she's supposed to be the house expert on all this supernatural.
I wouldn't call myself an expert.
In this area of the world.
Yes, I do like the weird and the
gooshy.
What is gooshy?
Yeah. The weird, the wild, the gooshy.
This is what I read about on the internet all the time.
Yeah. What's that podcast you like?
Last Podcast on the Left.
Yeah, shout out to Last Podcast on the Left with Harry Zabrowski.
It's Henry Zabrowski.
Whatever. I just know that's Gary from Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell.
Yes. A weird show.
See? So that's why we brought her in, resident expert. Okay.
Air quotes.
Air quotes. So what is the definition of a cult, Jerri? Let's see if you know that.
A definition of a cult?
Yeah, because you seem to know this stuff. Let's see if you know what it is here.
Dictionary definition?
Yeah.
I mean, I know what a cult is, but I've never, defined it.
You explain it then. Because I want to see if you can get close to the definition I have here from the dictionary. You probably won't get it. I'm just going to read it.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Blindsiding me.
Oh, because you're supposed to be the expert.
No one said expert. I just know a lot about specific cults. I read about them, but I don't, go defining.
So it's like a system of religious veneration and devotion directed toward a particular figure or object. Relatively small group of people having religious beliefs or practices regarded by others as strange or sinister.
That's pretty much what I was going to say.
Pretty much, word for word.
The interesting thing about, cult, I feel like a lot of things, when you really think about it, could kind of fall under that cult sort of...
That's exactly what I was thinking about when I was thinking about this podcast, because, you could apply that. If you took the religious part of it out, you could apply that to everything. Have you seen, people like Naruto a lot? Why couldn't that be a cult? People like makeup a lot. Could be a cult of makeup.
I was thinking,
cult. Michael Jordan cult.
For example, my grandmother is a Jehovah's Witness, and believe it or not, a lot of people consider, Jehovah's Witnesses to be a cult, and I always thought that was kind of weird. I watched this one episode, it was, a show that used to come on, I don't know, maybe AMC or something, and it was about people who've been in cults and then, like, gotten out of the cults, and one was talking about being, like, escaping, like, being a Jehovah's Witness.
What are you escaping, though?
That's
I
what
feel
I'm
like they're
saying,
not
like,
holding you captive or anything.
I mean, I guess maybe, like, some are, like, super... I couldn't explain it, because, like, I lived with my grandmother for years, and it's never been like that. I've been to the Kingdom Hall with her. It's never felt like it was...
Maybe there's more extreme versions of it in different places.
I mean, because, okay, like, there's even extreme versions of Christianity, like, if you want to take it there. First example, and I bring up this cult all the time because, like, out of all of the cults that I've heard of, this is probably one of the weirdest. It's the Movement for the Restoration of the Ten Commandments of God. That's long, right? They just go by the movement.
That's ridiculous.
So this is like that.
This is a black cult.
Yeah,
these are black people.
It's in Uganda. Was in Uganda.
Oh, that's crazy. Okay, go ahead.
So basically, let me see. Hold on, I gotta bring it up because, like, the names,
I've got it up. I've never considered that. This might make me sound like a bad person, but I've never seen too many. Maybe because I don't hear about them. Cults that were people of color.
No, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
There's a lot. Like, look at what's the documentary that just came out on Netflix? Was it Wild
West Country or whatever that was?
Yeah, Wild Country. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I remember that guy. We never finished that. Right. So yeah.
So the movement was started by, hold on, her name was Credonia Morinde and Joseph Kibuteri. Now, if I'm pronouncing those terribly, please forgive me.
No, Jerry, god damn it!
This one, like, this was like a doomsday cult, and just to kind of, like, sum them up briefly, because the story's, like, so much longer and more in depth and absolutely crazy. They were a doomsday cult, and basically, like, Joseph said, okay, like, you know, they do the thing, like, okay, the world is supposed to end on this date. So in order to be a part of this cult, if I'm not mistaken, you had to, like, sell all of your possessions, and then essentially you're giving all of your money to the church. But when the world didn't end, a lot of those church members started asking questions. So, why are you laughing?
Because it's like, oh wait, I sold you all my shit, and the world didn't end. So, like, can I get my shit back?
Yeah, they wanted their money back. So he changed it, and basically he was like, okay, like, it's different now. It's going to actually end on this date. So what he did was he threw, like, this huge party for the church, and, you know, they feasted and they drank, and, well, I don't know if they drink, but you get the idea. Yeah. And
having a grand old time, having a Great Gatsby type party.
Well, they locked them in the church, and they blew the church to bits with everyone in it. They all died. And I think there was over, like, 300 people in the church at the time, but that wasn't it. After this happened, they found like mass graves with like I don't want to exaggerate, but it was like maybe 1,000, maybe a couple thousand, like, bodies in it.
Yeah.
And basically, once you started questioning, they killed you. But the second time, he said the world was going to end, and he made sure it did.
Because it said 2000 locked him in a church.
Mm-hmm.
Tense fire killed 530 people. Windows and doors boarded up, prevented people from leaving. And he bought them sulfuric acid, which may have started the fire. Like, that is. There's a lot because I just did a quick search for cults, mm-hmm. and then some of them are repeats. But then there's a lot of cults of the world. This is like Scientology is not. It's bad. It's not like these other ones are pretty like intense. Like Jim Jones in Waco, Texas, with the Branch Davidians.
Jim Jones's cult was another crazy one. Hold on, what were they called?
The People's Temple.
Now, if you don't mind, I'm, like, getting so into this cult talk that I wouldn't mind, like, you know, doing future ones with these where we, like, zero in on one at a time and we can just, like, kind of, like, dig into the details.
Go for it.
Okay, so People's Temple is another of the craziest ones to me, like, kind of after reading about it, because when you kind of look into this one, like, everybody knows basically what happened, they all went down to the jungles of Guyana and they drank the poison flavor aid, but there was so much more to what happened with Jim Jones's cult than, I guess, just that. To me, like, this cult is, like, absolutely, like, it's, what do they say, the road to hell is paved with good intentions?
But I thought Jim Jones was a guy who just gave away money.
No.
Because, wait, so who's Diamond Jim then?
I don't think that's Jim Jones.
Okay.
So, okay, and when I say that, I don't mean necessarily Jim Jones itself. Jim Jones was a terrible person, but a lot of the people who joined the Pink...
Not diplomats, Jim Jones. We like him.
Yes.
I want to put that out there.
When a lot of when the folks who joined the People's Temple, like, keep in mind, like, this was at a time where, like, there was, like, a whole lot of racism and segregation and things like that going on, and Jim Jones,
in the late 70s and whatnot.
Yeah, 60s, 70s. He targeted a lot of, like, disenfranchised people, and basically, like, this was a place, I guess, where, they would feel, like, you can feel close and not discriminated against, because Jim Jones, if you were a racist, he would put you out. You weren't allowed to attend.
See, that's you. Do they all just seem like they pick out a particular part of you, and that draws you in, and then you find out about everybody else? Like, oh, you kind of feel like that too, and you feel like that, and then it's like they turn a switch, and it's like, all right, y'all niggas gotta kill each other.
That's exactly what cults do. Usually, when people join cults, like, they're looking for, like, if I'm, a sense of belonging. You have a whole bunch of like-minded people who are into and believe the same things that you believe in.
So you should have watched that show, Mindhunters.
What's that?
That was about serial killers. I don't think that was about cult leaders. That was where they were getting I think they were sitting down and they were talking to the serial killers to get inside their mind so they could pick out the different types of serial killers. Mm-hmm. But I thought that was about cult people. That's not about cult people. But why do you know so much about cults, Jerry?
I spend a lot of time on the interwebs.
You planning on starting a cult?
I've already started it.
What does that mean?
You're a part of my cult.
We're not about to throw that out there. Let's not start throwing. We're not gonna start throwing that out there. But if you had to start a cult, what cult are you gonna start? Ooh, hit you with a good one, huh?
Blindside me left and right. All right, so this is what I propose. I'm gonna do my cult series on here.
You did. All right, you did answer the question.
Huh?
What kind of cult are you starting?
I would start I don't know. I would probably never start a cult.
See, I think I'm charismatic enough to start a cult.
Oh, is that what you think?
Hey there. Feeling.
Okay, so what makes you think that when people start cults, that's...
What?
Look, I'll put it to you like this. You only need a couple of people who really believe in you, and then it spreads.
Yeah. Like, you need some real diehard people to, like your number one and your number two, and those folks, they're fitting to die for you.
Like,
and then they go out. It seems like a cult is like kind of like a pyramid scheme, because then it's like, okay, you go out and then you get two people, and then those two people they get two people, and then those people they get two people, and then it funnels all back to me.
That actually is the perfect point to bring it around to the cult that you wanted to talk about today, NXIVM.
Yeah, NXIVM, because was that a pyramid scheme?
So, what's confusing about NXIVM is that we also know NXIVM is some sort of pill. I remember, like, the
That's why it sounded familiar. I was like, what is this? I was like, NXIVM.
So, like, they've got this written out as, like, what is it?
They spelled it NXIVM.
Yeah, I had to, like, Google to, like, understand, like, the pronunciation of that, because I was definitely about to come on here and say all of those letters every time.
NXIVM.
So, yeah, that's...
It's like it's the newest cult, hottest cult in the streets right now.
Well, it's not new. We're just hearing about it
because it's got my girl from Smallville in it.
All right, let's go ahead. What have you come across?
What I've come across is that people are crazy because.
But what about NXIVM? What did you find out?
Oh, what they said their mission statement was a community guided by humanitarian principles that seek to empower people and answer important questions about what it means to be human. Is that going to draw you into the cult?
I won't even lie. That was a bunch of words and I zoned out.
Let me read this over one more time. Okay, this is their definition. This is their mission statement of what they said they're trying to achieve. Because think about it as, I guess, nowadays when you're trying to appeal to like the good in everybody, like humanitarian. They even use humanitarian in this one. A community guided by humanitarian principles that seek to empower, you with me, okay, people and answer important questions about what it means to be human. Okay,
so let's take all of that and throw it away because that's complete bullshit, and that is not what was going on with this.
You want to hear? Okay, I have it here now. This is what they were charged with. They were charged with sex trafficking and forced labor conspiracy, and then this Rainier, known as Vanguard to his followers, was arrested at a $10,000 a week luxury villa near Puerto Vallarta and extradited to Texas for arraignment. He is facing 15 years to life.
Absolutely. So this cult was originally intended, well, to the women, it was intended as a women's empowerment sort of sorority type thing. And it was just a sex cult. He was looking for sex slaves, and he has made that clear in many text messages and documents and things like that. Yeah. So they did try to say, like, this was a consensual sort of BDSM thing because, like, they do, like, the master-slave sort of thing. But this absolutely was not that. For women to be a part of this group, what they would have to do is submit, like, damaging, like, secrets about themselves as well as nude pictures so that if they ever try to, to defect or if they,
This is, what this sounds like, right?
R. Kelly?
No.
Oh.
Do you know what? Okay. Yes. But. Yes. Wait, did R. Kelly do that?
Well, no, but since we're on the topic, we're gonna touch on some R. Kelly before.
Let's continue with NXIVM first.
Okay.
We're gonna.
This is exciting.
You're real excited, but this sounds like, what else does this sound like?
A pyramid scheme?
This like
Scientology. Yeah, yes, absolutely.
What do they call it?
Auditing.
Okay. Yeah, it's basically like I said, a pyramid scheme with sex slaves. Because if you wanted to become a master, you had to recruit a certain number of slaves, and then you leveled up.
This is good. I have so many ideas about what I want to talk about in the future. Okay, but I'm sorry.
We're gonna put a pin in those.
Put a pin in it.
And then that's why you got those notebooks. That's why I'm always getting you notebooks. I know you got ideas
all
up
right,
in that puff
I
head.
got some ideas. Come on, man. What? Puff head?
Because you got a puff of hair. She got the natural puff.
You mean a fro?
Yeah, natural fro.
Kind of fro-y.
It's fro-y.
Yeah.
It's fro-y. But the women, they thought they were joining some sort of sorority, some sort of like women's togetherness, and they didn't even know that this dude was at the top.
Yeah, like once you join, like, keep in mind, like, people like Allison Mack. Allison Mack was actually brought into NXIVM by one of her Smallville co-stars. You did not know?
I didn't know that.
Okay. So let me figure out what co-star that was.
Was it Sam Jones? I know it wasn't him.
No, it was another female.
Wasn't Tom Welling, was it?
I don't know these people. I don't watch Smallville.
Was it Erica Durance?
No, what? Hold on. Okay.
I forget the mom and dad's names. Somebody save me. You sang it every time. Every single time. It didn't matter what episode it was. You sang one section of that song. But the thing is, I can't believe it because she was willingly in here branding these ladies with, like, these tattoos to, I guess, foster togetherness, because she was like, she says tattoos are for wimps, and she gave this interview talking about branding these girls 6 months before her arrest on human trafficking charges.
Allison Mack says Nexium branding was her idea.
Hmm?
She just runs her mouth.
Yeah. Like, she's out here running her mouth. She said, she says, I quote, I was like, y'all, a tattoo? What? People get drunk and get tattooed on the ankle, BFF, or a tramp stamp. I have 2 tattoos and they mean nothing.
I just don't understand what this is supposed to be female empowerment. Like, what's empowerment? Like, what's empowering about having to screw your cult leader? Like,
yeah, and get these indecipherable. Like, have you look? Okay, I have them up here. Look at that. Look at this brand right here. What do you think that means?
Oh, those are his initials.
What? His name is isn't it DR?
His name is Keith Rainier. Turn it on its side. Turn it on its side.
Which side? This side? K.
And then that's an upside down R. Turn it upside down again.
Oh. They took a picture of it all wrong.
No, that's just how they branded it on their body.
Oh, to make it look ridiculous?
More or less.
Like carrying they are both going for a minimum prison term of 15 years.
Okay, listen to this.
What do you think happened to her, Jerri?
This is a text exchange between him and... Where's...
Like, I have to say, I'm supremely disappointed because
Okay, so who was she on Smallville?
She was Chloe. She was, like, the brains. She was, when Clark needed somebody to, like, hack into the mainframe and get him into the building, Chloe was there. She got some superpowers. She liked Clark, but Clark was like, nah, I'm
Alright,
okay.
so whoever Kristen Crook is...
Lana?
Yes, that's the one who got Allison Mack involved.
I fucking never liked Lana. I knew she was trouble.
Okay, Allison Mack is a grown-ass woman who made her own decisions and decided sex trafficking should be a thing.
She probably did that ugly crying face from the show and got her to come in there.
So, okay, who was Allison Mack on the show? Was she banging Superman?
She was not. She was trying to bang Superman, but Superman was like...
Oh, she was the friend.
Let's just be friends. Yeah. She went crazy. See, Clark leaves, you don't get that Superman dick, and you go out and you start branding chicks on their hips and thighs and what? With upside down R's and whatnot.
Okay, so we... Alright, so this is, I guess the cult leader's name is Keith Rainier.
Yes.
So this text
Look, that's her crying face.
Ew.
Told you. Whenever she cried on the show, that used to make me so fucking mad because I'd have to see her face just. Clark, I'm so sad.
So was she banging him or?
Yeah, she was banging Clark, and then eventually, no, did they? I think they might have. He had a thing where if he banged you, since he was Superman, he might like split you in two.
All right, so this is what he had to say. All right, so Rainier says, I think it would be good for you to own a fuck toy slave for me that you could groom and use as a tool to pleasure me. So whoever this slave, I guess, she says, huh? Not disagreeing, just don't understand. So he says, but you're my wife. She isn't. Just a tool for you to use for me. So she says a person, and then he says, get a slave. You're her master.
That's some messed up stuff. This is messed up stuff.
Yeah.
I don't understand the headspace that you have to be in to think about the day that you have the inception of the idea for a cult, right? And then taking that seed, planting that seed, and then growing that into like a whole forest of a cult.
This is stuff, man.
Like I joke and say, I mean, I don't think I have the constitution, fortitude to pull something like that off.
Well, congrats, you're not a terrible person.
But okay, like I said, what is a cult then? Isn't everything a cult then?
You defined cult at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah, but then I'm saying, because in the definition it says anything you can deem to be strange or sinister. think a lot of religions are strange and sinister. Does that mean they're a cult to me? Can you define them as a cult now?
I mean, if you're asking me, I'm going to say yes, but...
That's what I'm doing. I'm asking you.
I have a lot of feelings and opinions that I'll keep to myself.
It's the podcast. They listen or they don't.
This is true. Because I'm thinking about something particular, but then I'm like, I don't know if I want to say it, because I don't necessarily want to offend anyone either. Like, I have my own beliefs.
See, that's the thing. I have my own beliefs, and I'll say my beliefs, and I don't mean to offend anybody by them. And if I do, I'm sorry, but I'm going to still, I guess, say them. I'm going to try to say them in the most respectful way possible.
But I don't feel like the way that I'm thinking is going to be respectful. Like, I'm not trying to be, like, in my head, I'm not being disrespectful in what I think. But I feel like if I were to say some of the things that I think out loud, then they could be misconstrued as disrespect.
Yeah, that's going to happen no matter what.
I know, but I have lots of friends and families who believe a certain way, and my beliefs slightly differ.
Coincide with those beliefs. Yeah, we both grew up in very religious families, and then our beliefs seem to take a shine away.
Well, I was listening to Michael Basin the
other
other day.
Man.
No, was
he talking about Michael Basin talks cults?
Well, he wasn't talking cults, but he was saying like how religion for millennials is much different than it used to be. He was saying that like lots of millennials classify themselves as spiritual, but not necessarily religious anymore. And he was actually kind of saying how he applauds that, like,
because it did.
We're a much more open like generation. So like instead of like living by these hard fast rules, you have like lots of millennials now identify with lots of things and agree with lots of different things. So you might get like a little bit of the.
You get a mixed bag.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong. I see nothing wrong with that.
I think that it kind of creates like you're just more open-minded to other people's.
It had back in the day. It seemed like it did have a cult-like mentality where it was all one way. That's the only reason. That you know what I mean? It's all one way. If you wanted to be religious, you gotta go to church every Sunday. You gotta do this, and this. You gotta do this, and this. Now it's just like if whatever makes you feel good, that's what you go with.
Yeah. I'm conflicted about a lot of things.
Starting your own cult?
There's no conflict in me about that. I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. I was kidding. I'm just joking.
I'm saying, like, what's your cult gonna be?
If I were to start a cult, then my cult would be
Cult of Shoes.
I don't even buy shoes like that anymore.
Cult of Peanut Butter.
I don't eat that much peanut butter.
See, no, it'd be for us. We'd be like, look, we're people. We hate what you're doing to this world, and we're gonna show you how much we hate it, and then we're all gonna eat Reese's peanut butter cups because we're all gonna be allergic to peanut butter, and then we're gonna mass suicide ourselves.
I wouldn't necessarily call it a cult, but like one thing that I was kind of like that just kind of like crossed my mind. Okay, so you remember like way back when I lost all of that weight? And I was, I had adopted a very unhealthy set of behaviors. There are lots of women out there on the internet who also have the same unhealthy behaviors, and they support each other on those unhealthy behaviors.
I think that's a cult.
You think so?
Because I know what pictures you're talking about, where they're really skinny.
So you're like Finspo?
That's hurting yourself.
So, but they're like...
That one hive mind thinking, because they're all feeding off of each other, and they're all pinging each other, and it's like, oh, they agree, and they keep doing it. That's not healthy.
I'll say that those sorts of forums and pictures and things like that on the website didn't help my behaviors at all, because I was also...
You were in there looking at them. Yeah.
I might not have been chiming in, but...
They were reaffirming your beliefs that this was a good thing to do.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's all. That seems like that's what cults are. It's just, you get in there and it's the hive mind, and then you got your hive leader pumping you guys up to make you feel good about your hive mind, and you're like, yeah, this is...
And it's like, it's
great.
also like kind of like where, like how I was explaining to you, like there's like, you understand that what you're feeling isn't really logical, but you can't, it's hard to fight against that. Like, for example, feeling like I ate like 3 chips and that's going to make me gain a few pounds.
Yeah.
And
there's no science behind it.
Nope, and you understand that there's no science behind it, or I did, but then I couldn't fight it. And then it was kind of like, well...
Just rewiring your brain. Like, they go in there, and then they get in your head, and then they just connect this to that, and then you're done.
Because then I still have my moments where I have, like, things that bother me, and I know it's not logical, but it's just weird how, like, it almost feels like you don't ever fully break away from it. It's just you can.
It's a part of your break. If you rewire it, that rewiring's always gonna it's gonna be there. You got to bypass around it now. It's still there, sparking up.
Well, I just got to a point where I'm just like, why am I fighting my body?
Well, yeah, Jerry, why are you fighting your body?
I don't know. Well, you can kiss. That was an air kiss.
Yeah, it sounded like a toot. Because I don't think I have the. Am I charming enough to start a cult?
As someone who's never had any desire to join a cult,
no, you don't think I could get you to join a cult?
I've already joined your cult.
Not that one. Because, like, the mental capacity...
Do you mean if you were like, I'm the leader and you need to follow me to live your best life?
Exactly. Could you pull it? Do you think I could pull that off with anybody? I could barely get him to do what we ask.
Yeah, no. So
I can't even get him to keep his room clean. I don't think there's anyone, because think about how charming you have to be, and then also how like sinister behind the scenes and kind of like mean to keep him alive that you have to be to get somebody to say I'm going to willingly commit mass suicide willingly.
I'll say this, like I said,
or I'm going to willingly kill for you. All
you need is a few people who strongly believe in what you're saying, and then they get a few more people who strongly believe in what they're saying.
Your tongue, your tongue has to be so silver, like the silver tongue, whatever. You have to. You know how good you have to talk to pull some shit like that off. This Church of Euthanasia, they convinced these people to kill themselves. Willingly, like, since the world's like, there's so much population going, we're going to kill ourselves as self-sacrifice to decrease the population. You know how crazy you have to be to spew those words and get people to believe them?
Alright, so next week, unless you have something that you really want to talk about, or you know what, if you want...
We'll pepper these in. Don't worry. Since I know that you're going to want to do these now, we'll pepper these in.
Because I want to start with People's Temple. I want to really get in there.
You're gonna take heed of the cast.
I don't know. I just have some things that I kind of want to say, and I have some ideas about it, and I have some audio that we could listen to.
Jerri's got shit to say, y'all.
I got shit to say.
She got shit to say, y'all, about cults, y'all.
And then one of these days, I want to get into that R. Kelly BBC documentary I watched. That was wild. You should spend more time on the internet with me. Okay, you know what?
You go to the corners of the internet that I'm not very much interested in. Like this is like, I feel like this, are cults supernatural? Would you consider them supernatural?
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I put them in the supernatural category.
It's not supernatural.
I'm gonna throw them in the supernatural category. I'm gonna throw them in because that's like the ghosts and the ghouls and.
You want to know why cults aren't supernatural? Because all of these things, like.
I feel like you gotta be. Like I'm saying, to convince people to do this, there's got to be something going on with you. Like you gotta
have nothing
like,
supernatural about it. Even like when people like let's say something bad happens, or like you hear about someone who killed someone else, and someone's like, oh, they must be a monster or they're an animal. No, what they did is it's very human. Nothing else in the animal kingdom, no other animals or anything like that behave the way humans behave.
There's like no lion serial killers or something like
it's distinctly human. Cults, it's not supernatural, it's human.
Yeah.
Humans are capable of some weird, fucked up shit.
Yeah. I mean, have you seen Crocs?
I can't stand you.
I mean, Crocs are crazy.
Oh no. Okay, cool. Anyway,
I'm just, there has to, that's just, maybe that's me. That's just what I believe. There's something in your water, in your makeup, in your aura that draws people to you, that makes them, because like, at what point does a person who is a cult leader say, huh, this is a cult and I'm leading it? And then they know this and they go forward with it anyway. They're the person on top who knows that this is all bullshit, but they're still willing to let those people die anyway. Like, at the top, do you think Charles Manson knew or actually thought that killing all those people would do anything? Or Jim Jones thought that killing all those people would do anything? They're the person at the top. They're like...
Okay, well, first of all, Jim Jones was on a lot of drugs. And I'm not even saying that to, like, joke or anything. He was on a lot of drugs. Of course, they don't really... a lot of times they don't really believe in the bullshit that they're spouting, but they'll tell these people what they need to hear.
To get him to the edge.
Mm-hmm.
It's...
Because when Jim Jones took the People's Temple down to Guyana, what a lot of people may or may not realize is that there was an investigation being started on Jim Jones here, and that's why he fled. So Jim Jones was having sex with a lot of people in his church, not just women either, women and men.
Hey man.
And
Jim says that door swings both ways.
Well, not only that, he was having sex with them, and I don't even think that the sex is necessarily about him being bisexual or homosexual or anything like that. It's a control. It's a tool for control. And then basically, like, you know, if anybody in his cult like would step out of line, he'd beat them. You know, they were calling him Dad. Everybody called him Dad. Even the people in his church who were older than him, he was Dad. So what was happening is a lot was starting to come out in newspapers about, like, you know, sexual misconduct and abuse and things like that. So that's when he said, all right, you know, we're taking this to Guyana, and are you guys coming with me? So
let's just pick up and move to Guyana real quick.
Well, when people finally got down to Guyana, this was supposed to be like you know, like he advertised it like a paradise sort of thing. But they got down there and he put those people to work. They were essentially slaves, and they would work long hours, and you know, they'd have to get up early in the morning, work late into the evening. And he just kind of created like a sense of fear and paranoia there, because, you know, when people got down there, they thought, you know, I could still, at least, you know, I can do this, and I can still be in contact with my family, and I can still go back and see my family. But they got down there and they started missing their families. But
cut you off down there. But
yeah, and they couldn't say anything. Like if, you know, you asked him if you could go back home and see your family, he'd, you know, verbally abuse you. And he made it like an environment where, like, you know, if anybody expressed any ideas or belief opposite than what he wanted you to believe, then he wanted you to tell.
He wanted snitches in there.
Yeah, so there would be, you know, family members, like, you know, spouses telling on each other, children telling on their parents, and just... So,
I'm still crazy. I still gotta go back to the headspace. How do you get in the headspace that this is a good idea to join this place?
Because it was about the money, and he had a lot of it.
He couldn't have been parceling out stacks of money to these people.
Well, that's not the point of a cult. He wants all the money. Like, what do you mean?
Creed says, you know, as when you're in a cult, you have more fun as a follower, but you make more money as a leader.
What happened in Jonestown, like, a lot of people will call that like a mass suicide. It's not a mass suicide. That was a mass murder. There were a lot of people, and like I said, if you want me to, I can do an episode where we kind of dig into this. But when you listen to that recording of like that final day, like, you could hear all these people, you know, crying in the background, and a lot of them didn't drink that Flavor Aid. That's what it was, Flavor Aid. They didn't drink it willingly. They were made to drink it at gunpoint. And then the children there who had to drink it keep in mind, they were given adult doses. It was cyanide in there, I believe. They were, if I'm not mistaken, but I'll get into that later on. And they died very horrible, painful deaths.
How can you just...
And the thing about this
cyanide lace grape flavoring.
Mm-hmm.
Storage container full of Kool-Aid in large quantities.
But he'd run like basically like trials, I guess, of this to see, like, you know, if when the time came, you know, would they do it. And the reason why he decided to do it this day, I think a senator, and like I said, I'll get more into details on another episode, but he went down there to, like, basically check it out. And, you know, when he went down there, he was like, anybody who wants to
leave, you can leave.
Yeah. And all hell broke loose. So some of Jim Jones's, like, I guess, like, essentially security, they went down to the airport where he was at, and they shot those people up. The senator died that day.
Put some Godfather shit on this. That's what I'm saying. I don't get it. Maybe because my brain's not wired that way. Like, have they ever... I wonder if they took his brain and looked at it and was like, oh, look at this. The Strength's got us an extra...
By the time they got down to the jungles, everybody was soup, pretty much, so...
Oh, we had a laugh. For goodness gracious.
What?
It's
I've seen some, like... I wouldn't dig too far, because there are crazy pictures out there.
I know you've seen them.
Yeah, I've seen the picture of Jim Jones.
I know you've seen those pictures.
Like everybody's seen the pictures of everybody all piled up in the jungle, but like the close-ups are crazy.
Why are you looking at the close-ups today? You're just interested.
I am.
See, one day I'm gonna wake up tied to like a board or something, and Jerry's good. Jerry's about to hostile me. Jerry, I don't want to get hostile. You know that's a big fear.
I'm not
Jerry,
trying to hostile
don't
anybody.
let me get hostile, please.
I will say this about myself, and I can't explain it, and I don't know why I am the way I am, but I just like the weird and the strange and the macabre. And
every once in a while, we're maybe every, like, in between the two episodes, like, this is your episode, and then we'll go back to something else, and then we'll do your episode.
I like that. I wouldn't even mind doing one of my episodes, like, once a month, and then I have time to prepare for it.
Because you didn't prepare for this one, lady.
I didn't, but look at me. I'm here and I'm talking about cults, ain't I?
So I'm gonna run down these, and I want you to tell me what they do.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna rapid fire. You think you can do it?
Okay. What
you
does?
All right, Scientology.
Okay, like, what do you mean? Tell me what they do, like
it's like, do you know of these groups, and can you explain them?
Yeah, I know of Scientology.
Scientology, go.
Like, explain what Scientology is?
Brief synopsis.
I mean, the weirdness that is Tom Cruise. I don't know how...
That's in the dictionary. It's a picture. It's Scientology. There's a picture of Tom Cruise doing that weird laugh. That's a meme. Where he's, like, back in his chair. He's like... Okay. Hare Krishna.
I know of them, but I can do more research on them and be ready to talk about them. A lot of these you could name to me, like, to break down really quick what they are. I'd probably have trouble doing with that, but I promise you I've heard of a lot of these.
You've heard of most of them?
Let's see, what else you got?
Okay, what about, I know the Manson family. Of course, everybody. What about, Order of the Solar Temple?
I believe I've heard of that, too.
You want me to just give a brief so you know what it is?
Yeah.
Okay. 1995, 16 members were found burned on a plateau in the French Alps.
Yes, I've heard of them.
Because they said they had 53 other temple members.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's see. Rajneesh or Osho cult?
Brief description.
Okay. Bhagwan...
Let me see.
Bhagwan Ranjit, also known as Osho, began a spiritual movement in 1970 that included a mix of capitalism, meditation, ethnic, dirty jokes, and open sexuality.
It sounds vaguely familiar. I've probably come across them.
The Children of God. That sounds. I feel like I've heard this.
Children of God is a sex cult. In fact, Joaquin Phoenix was born into that cult, as well as there's another female actress.
Did they do a movie on this? I feel
on.
like they might have done a movie on this.
Children of God. So basically, like, it was basically prostituting for Jesus.
The way you said it. Probably busted that thing open for Jesus. Okay.
Let's see. Okay, so Joaquin Phoenix and... Let's see, who else? Because I know the other name. Why can't I think of it? Give me 1 sec.
Okay, and I'm going to go to the rest of these.
Okay.
Unification Church.
No.
Okay. The Manson family, of course.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know he just died last year.
Who?
Manson? Last November?
Huh. The last thing I heard about him was having a cell phone up in jail.
What? Who's he calling?
I got no clue.
He sit there like, yeah, Charlie's on the phone.
You know, there's like a lot of women who really, because this really young girl was like saying like she was gonna like marry him and stuff, and there are women out here who were like that. It's so weird.
I didn't get it. I never got it. All right, what about the
Shinrikyo?
Yes. Shinrikyo.
Yep.
Okay. The nerve gas.
Mm-hmm. And this was in Japan, and they did this on the
subway.
Yep.
See, because I've heard of sarin nerve gas. If anybody's watched any kind of like maybe action movie, if they use a nerve gas in the movie, it's always this sarin nerve gas. We have 20 tons of sarin nerve gas to be able to unleash on the Republic.
What accent is that?
No
you know
clue.
what I was going to say. Don't even say it.
I don't know. I was going for
Don't even just
bad guy in movie with nerve gas.
Okay.
Oh, man. So, yeah, this is the kind of nerve gas they were using in Syria. I'm done looking up what that is.
Oh, what it does to you? Did you come around some pictures?
They were people, they were laying there, and they were kind of like, they were yellow. They were really yellow looking. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's see. What about, I don't think you're going to get this one. It started in 2012. I'm not going to even try to say that.
Let me see. Nope. Oh, wait, sorry. I'm like right in the mic.
Oh, goodness. Okay, the Branch Davidians, Waco, Texas.
Oh, that's another good one that I can get into.
Okay.
I'm just going to have like, I can do like Weird Wednesdays or something. I can get into cults and
Jerry's
just
Weird and Wacky
stuff.
Podcast. That's what we'll do. Jerry's Weird and Wacky Podcast. Because are we going to do it every Wednesday?
Yeah.
We can record it on Sundays and just release it on Wednesday.
That sounds good to me. Because I got a lot of weird shit I want to talk about.
She got so much weird shit, y'all. Alright, let's see. People's Temple, we just talked in depth about that. Nexium. Mm-hmm. Why would they spell it like this?
Because
that makes me
assholes.
so freaking mad. That makes me so mad. I know the people who actually produced the Nexium. They're like, oh, what the hell? Like, their social media guy probably got online.
Okay, but here's the thing. Like, most people aren't going to look at that word and say Nexium. I had to Google it to know that it was called Nexium. And I take it you had to do it too, since you knew when I said Nexium what I was talking about.
All right, Tree of Life.
Description.
Founded in Russia, organization forbids members from informing themselves through media.
No.
Numerous people have died because they weren't allowed to go to a doctor or to a hospital.
Never heard of it.
Let's see. Church of Euthanasia. This is the one I was talking about, the self euthanasia. Mm-hmm. Thou shalt not procreate. Boko Haram.
Heard of.
That's right, sort of that. ISIS.
Mm-hmm.
Is ISIS a cult, or is that like a military?
So let me ask you this. Knowing what the definition of cult is, are they a cult? By definition.
By definition, I guess. Mm-hmm. Al-Qaeda. Mm-hmm. this might make me sound ignorant, but are they still a thing? Or did ISIS come and replace them? Or did they join together?
It's still a thing.
Because you remember all we heard about for a while, like after 9/11? Al-Qaeda. Then all of a sudden, nothing about Al-Qaeda. ISIS.
Ouch.
All right. Heaven's Gate.
Yep. Heaven's Gate. In fact, the funny thing about Heaven's Gate is...
You want to rephrase that?
Okay, not the hilarious thing about Heaven's Gate.
The knee-slapping thing about Heaven's Gate.
Funny as and odd is that somebody is still actually running their email account and will respond to your emails.
Did you email these people?
No. But I know it's because people have emailed them.
Okay.
Well, they had to leave some people behind. They were, like, basically, I think they, like, timed it with, like, the Hail Bop comment or whatever, and that's...
Yeah. Marshall Applewhite said it was time to discard their attachments to the world and their human bodies.
In fact, the episode of Family Guy, when Stewie's first birthday, when Meg, they were eunuchs.
Yeah.
And they, with the sweatsuits and stuff.
Yeah. That's what that's supposed to be about?
Yeah.
That's crazy. They always want you, if I go anywhere and they say we're all going to drink from this massive vat of Kool-Aid, I'm not going to do it. That screams cult to me. I'm not even going to be in the cult in the first place.
Well, I mean, having to do this isn't a surprise.
Like he tells you beforehand, we're about to kill ourselves, guys.
Yeah, you know what you're signing up for.
But if you know what you're signing up for, why would you go? Like you're like, oh, I'm going to have fun for a month or two, and then the next thing I know, I'm going to die horribly, painfully maybe.
People are willing to die for their beliefs, I guess.
Like, I like a lot of stuff. I don't think I'm willing to die for it.
Yeah, there's not a lot of...
I have people I'll die for, but there's not a lot of stuff and things I'm willing to die for.
Yeah. Me neither.
What if it was... you got to cut your hand off and you get like $1 billion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd do that too. that was an easy one. That was a great...
We've had these conversations.
Yeah. There's not a lot that we wouldn't go down. We'll put that on another podcast.
There's a whole lot I'd do for $500.
She ain't be there, y'all. She ain't be there. Oh, man. I'm going to leave that in. I was thinking to myself, I'm going to add that out. Nope, I'll believe that one. Oh, goodness. Okay. Is there any other cult stuff you want to throw out there real quick?
No.
Because I feel like we scratched the surface on this, and then I guess we know that, but now we're gonna make this. We're gonna make this a continual thing. Jerry's weird and wacky podcast with cults and goose and ghouls.
I don't know if we'll call it weird and wacky, but you're on the right track. But yes,
what's wrong with weird and wacky?
Ghouls and goblins and cults and murders. Lots of murders.
I'm just gonna be in the background for these.
No. We need dialogue.
I know. I'm going to be in the background. Like, you're going to bring all the stuff up, and I'm going to pepper in that crazy Dante wit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, let's do it.
Like, hey, man, this dude got killed by a butcher knife. A butcher knife? He get a good rack of lamb?
I also had another good idea.
That was bad.
I told you I was listening to that Potterotica podcast, which is hilarious, by the way.
Potterotica?
Yeah, we should read some funny fanfics.
I'm not much into fanfics because I don't want them to ruin the shows that I like to watch.
There's hilarious fanfic out there.
I feel like they're going to ruin the shows that I like.
Please, okay, go to the Potterotica podcast and just listen to the first episode. I laughed so much on the bus.
Potterotica?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's so funny. But the two girls who do it, I don't know their name, but they do a great job. It's very funny. But I'm also super into podcasts, and I feel like I listen to 1 million of them.
I only listen to a couple.
They're so good. I wish I knew how good podcasts were, but I thank Serial for it, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people are on the same page with me. You still have not listened to Serial. You need to do it. In fact, we're doing that today. We are going to listen to...
Why?
Come on, please. We listen to How Did This Get Made all the time together.
Because we both like How Did This Get Made.
Look, I'm not saying we're going to go through the series. Just let's sit in here. We'll quietly, you get on your computer, your tablet, and I'll be on my tablet, and we're going to put on the first episode of Serial. And I want you to know how good it is and why everybody loved it so fucking much.
Do I look like I'm a follower? I set the trend. I am not the trend follower.
Can't you just do this one thing for me?
You always say that. See, look, we're talking about cults. The cult of cereal.
Yes.
Y'all niggas swear by this joint.
Because it's so good. So just listen to it. Just listen. First episode. That's all I'm asking.
They're just going to be talking at me.
It's so much better than that. And the second serial, the second season of Serial, I could leave it. But the first season is so good.
Oh, it's so good, y'all. It's so good. So good of a juicy nug.
Alright, so we're doing this. It's happening. I decided.
We'll see. Acting like you making all the decisions up in here.
You told my dad I was the decision maker.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see what happens. But okay. I think we're going to stop there for the day. Mm-hmm. Are there any shout-outs you'd like to give?
I think I shouted out two of my favorite podcasts so far on here. I guess in the spirit of shouting out your favorite podcast, also shout out to Sword and Scale if you are into true crime. And I will definitely be back with some weird shit.
Weird shit. Goodness. Don't smile at me like that. Shout out podcasts you like. I'll shout out How Did This Get Made? Because that's really the only one I really like.
Oh yeah, shout out to them too. It's hilarious.
That's the only one I really like. They said Doug Does Movies is good, but I don't really like that one too much.
Okay, before we get off, let me tell you that movie that I put on last night was weird. You and me and everybody else.
That movie, I kept falling. What? We'll do a review of that later.
How weird that shit was?
How weird that movie was. Because,
the little kid was hilarious.
That little... Oh, man. What did the poop process or something he called?
Back and forth forever.
Back and forth forever. So we got some stuff coming your way. We got the Back and Forth Poop podcast.
Let me ask you this, how blown would you be if you got on the internet and then you sexually opened yourself up and then you found out that you were just being catfished by an 8-year-old?
I fell asleep for a bunch of that movie. I was fading in and out. I woke up and I saw her running away. And I was like, oh, that must have been what that was. That's pretty funny.
I heard you giggle.
That was pretty funny. Okay, so we got some stuff coming at you guys. We got movie review of what's it called?
Oh, you and me and everybody and everybody else, whatever.
Corbin Blue's ugly younger brother's in this movie.
That kid isn't ugly.
Corbin
Blue is though.
I guess. And then we got Jerry's weird wacky podcast coming up.
A whole lot coming your way.
What's your next topic going to be on, Jerry?
I'm going to start it off with People's Temple. We'll start it off with cults, since cults are fresh in my mind right now, and I'm going to dig up a lot of information. We'll listen to some things. Also, yeah, I got a lot. There's another documentary that I think we should watch together, since you're opening yourself up to a little bit of weird. And that is called
Y'all don't know what's about to happen.
Just Melvin, Just Evil.
You guys do not know what's about to happen. Jerry's about to open up the weird gates.
Yep, I'm doing it.
She's about to open them straight up. She's kept them closed for a little bit, but she's about to open them up. See, now I'm hoping she's going to open up and finally let me see what she's doing when she's playing her Sims.
No, mind your business. They're banging a bunch.
I bet. I don't doubt
kidding.
that.
I'm kidding.
She's not kidding. Also, I got the next couple episodes of One Piece that I've watched. I'm going to put that up. And let's see, my next podcast, we'll see what it's going to be about. There's a lot of stuff happening, a lot of things going on. But we'll see you guys later.
All right.
Peace!